Yo, it's a great time for another track day video. And in today's episode, I'm going to do the complete beginner's guide to track days. So you can make the most out of your next track day and don't make the same mistakes that I did. And so I'm going to lay out the video as I usually do. I'm going to start with 3 full laps of the track. First lap, I am going to stay quiet. The second lap, I'm going to go through the corner names as we go around the track. And then on the third lap, I am going to give you some tips and tricks, lines to go, braking points, clipping points, and things like that. So that means you can get the most out of each and every lap. And then after them 3 laps, I'm going to put together clips of things that I did wrong and that I hope to no longer do wrong, and hopefully you can be better than me right from your first track day. And then I'll finish off the video with a what to bring, at least by my standards. So enjoy the video and see if you can spot any of the things that I do wrong right from the get-go. And so on to the corner names, and this first one is technically called target. Of course, everyone just calls it the first corner, and they do that on most tracks. To be fair, the first corner is just the first corner. This one is called the banking for semi-obvious reasons. It is a positive camber corner, and it is a lot of fun to drive. It's not as cambered as Shell Corner at Alton Park, but it is still enough to notice. This is Church, the most difficult corner for me, because in a slower car it is full throttle out of the banking and through Church. This is the back straight, coastal straight, not straight, whatever you want to call it. And then up here we are into Rocket, which is a 2-corner complex. Went a bit wide there, but don't worry about that. And then into this one here. Locals and myself call it Dragon, just because it looks like the head of a dragon when you look at the track map itself. And here is the most beautiful corner in the UK, I'm willing to bet, because look at that view just come into shot there. The mountains, the coastline, everything, it's just great. Easy to miss your braking point into the corkscrew here, which, as you can see them cones, it carries on for another right-hander. That's also called the corkscrew on the coastal circuit. This is GP, so up here we go the Tom Pence straight into the hairpin. Tom Pence was a Welsh F1 driver. He was the only Welsh F1 winner, and unfortunately he passed away in 1977 in the South African Grand Prix. This is start finish 2, and then we go around the bus stop into start finish 1. It's not technically a bus stop, like normally a bus stop is a double chicane, right, left, right, but that's just one corner and they've called it bus stop. So now on to the tricks and tips.
And so to start on the basics, the racing line. This is one of the things that sim racing does actually teach you, and as you can see, the first corner is the classic racing line, outside, inside, outside, and then the second corner is probably the closest to a hairpin bend with a late turn in and carrying the speed out. And then church is an increasing radius curve, this one here. And that one is very important to get right because you are holding a lot of speed and you can easily go onto the grass. And then dragon is a bit more complex than the connecting linking curve because it isn't a right angle out, it's a 180 out. So that means that there's a couple of ways to attack it. You can use the line as you can see there on the connecting linking curve and then just stick to the inside. As you get better, you can even use the body roll and motion to get that move initiated. I've actually got a clip right at the end before going into what to bring of me doing exactly that. And or you can kill it a little bit more like a classic racing line on the first part and then just stick to the inside of the hairpin and then power it out on the exit. And then you've got peel corner. If you remember that one from the clip, that is a classic racing line. And after peel, it is the half of the corkscrew. Again, another right angle up to the hairpin, and the hairpin's the hairpin, obviously. And then finally on the bus stop, I'd say that was closer to a decreasing radius curve as you get onto the start finish one and really power it out of there. Of course, there's an element of the classic racing line in that last curve as well, but let me see if you can spot these racing lines being used in the clips to come. Still on the basics, we are onto the flags. The only real ones that you see are the black, blue, red, yellow, green, and you don't often see the checkered because normally you're just in at the end of the day. It gets very quiet at the end of the day. So if you're still there, you can enjoy some traffic-free laps. So be sure to pause the video here and have a look at what all the flags mean. Familiarise yourself because it is quite important on the day. And if you're in a convertible, make sure that you've got long sleeves, long trousers and a full face helmet. That is a requirement for most of the track day providers. In a fully caged car or one with a roof permanently, you can get away with an open face helmet, and quite often you can get away with short sleeves as well, but they do always recommend that you wear long trousers. A lot of people recommend flame retarded trousers and tops as well. I think it's a little bit overkill until you need it. And so you want to start braking around about these boards that are placed around the track on many of the corners and hit the apex near to the second flexi post that you see on the inside, and normally that will give you a nice out and you can use all of the track. On the right is the board for the banking, and this is a nice open hairpin, so make sure to turn in late and get on the power early. Remembering, of course, to use all of the track. And then this is church. For your first couple of laps, I do recommend a big lift as you turn in, and that will help shift the weight forward onto the front wheels. And then you want to aim for those flexi posts that we just went by there, getting gently back onto the power as not to upset the car. Stick to the middle around about this area, and then keeping as tight to the right as you come in here, and then as soon as you're straight, get on the brake hard. It is uphill, but you are going about 110 plus mile an hour there. As you can see, I went a bit wide there, mainly because some jets went overhead and I thought I was locking up, to be honest. But keeping in tight for the second half of Dragon, and on you go. And then right here on the left, I brake where the curb starts there, and then a nice easy turn in, aim for the last flexi post and really power it out because you got plenty of space on the outside there that I didn't use. Then the braking zone is this whole bit that is a different colour. Off the brakes when the colour changes back to normal, and normally that is good speed around the corner. And so onto the hairpin. On this one I actually use this marker here, the orange bit. You can see me look at it slightly when I get on the brakes, and a late turn in. And as you can see, the flexi posts are more towards the exit. I get away with that one, but my hands are flailing all over the place. Well, we'll talk about that one in a second. And so down start finish 2 towards the bus stop, and on this one I use this board. That is a pretty good board for it, and then a good turn in with a fantastic exit will set you right for the next lap as well. And so onto the bits that I do wrong and you can do better than me. First of all, the glaringly obvious throughout this entire video is my hand positions. I keep on shuffling them around the wheel, which is fine if you're driving Miss Daisy or going through town, but if you're racing or doing fast laps like this, you really want to keep that pinned at 3 and 6. And you can see here, just look at how much counter steering I need to keep this under control. Luckily I shuffle my hands back quite quickly, but if it snaps on you and you need to turn it this far, you simply can't if you've shuffled your hands around the wrong way, you see. Luckily I managed to hold this one, but it could have been a lot worse. You can also see here as I go into Dragon, again, if that snaps round, I'd only be able to get that 1/4 of a turn rather than half a turn as needed in the previous clip. Luckily it didn't kick out there despite it raining, but it could have easily, or on this peel corner, it could have easily kicked out and sort of spun me around, and it did on one of the laps actually. Here you can see I start to learn these clips were at the end of the day. I keep one hand in place at least, so that means I can react if needed. Not bad if I do say so myself. So the next clip is about seating position. Look how straight my arm is there. You do not want that. You want to keep a bit of bend while on top of the steering wheel. And so it is on to letting people by. You can see this Porsche dive on the inside of the Merc. That is quite a dangerous move because at Anglesey it is pass on the left. If you see a group of people in the same car, it's just best to let the whole group by. All these Civics were definitely together. Not that you can race each other on a track day like this, but it is helpful. In this you can see in the mirror how quickly this Porsche gets up on me, so it is also important to keep an eye on your mirrors as to not get in other people's way. At the end of the day, we all paid to be here. We all want to enjoy our cars to the maximum of what the car can do, but let them pass on the straight, finish your corner, do what you need to do, and then move out the way. There are a couple of exceptions to this rule, and it's mainly pit in, pit out, when you can pass on the wrong side, as you will see here. I'm heading in towards the pit, which is on the left, and to be honest, this MX-5 just really had a lot more cornering than I did, and he was stuck to the inside, so it was just easier to stick to the outside and head towards the pits. Quite often you'll get cars that are faster on the corners than the other ones are in the straight, and vice versa. And if someone catches up with you, it is important to let off the accelerator and let them pass, like this BMW does for me here. So it's always nice to give them a little thank you. And so in this clap you will see someone coming out of the pits, and I don't know whether they didn't see me or they didn't think that I was as fast as I am, but you can see them there coming out of the pits. I mean, they're on a warm-up lap, so naturally they would be slower, and I am on a flying lap, so I technically should get priority. I come out of this corner, it's a little Saxo, so my 3-litre BMW is caught up with them quickly, but I had to let off prematurely until they let me past. It is always pass with permission, so you should be looking for indicators and then make your move. And this clip rolls on quite nicely to my next point, braking and using a double clutch to save your engine. You can hear me, and you can hear the wheels there squeeching and squealing away as I'm shifting it through the gear with no double clutch. And what double clutch is, it's rev matching to where the engine wants to be, because your engine does have lots of momentum, and so it is important to get the revs equal to where they should be for changing the gears down, otherwise it can put unnecessary strain and wear on the diff. Commonly referred to the heel and toe, you get onto the brake, Down with the clutch, tap the accelerator to rev match, and then release the clutch. Normally it only takes one rev like that, and it can be done quite quickly once you're used to it. And so the next clip is about overconfidence. As you can see, it's slipping out there, but yet I still go and turn the traction control off to start my flying laps. And in a couple of corners you'll see that it was a minor mistake. I don't go flying off the course, luckily. I am quite lucky on that, and I've got quite good reactions from the sim racing, but with the hand position, the traction off it is not the one, to be fair. And considering I have an open diff, it is not the wisest of moves. It makes it very unpredictable, as opposed to a limited slip diff is a bit more predictable in those situations. I mean, I even give myself a clue here.
Definitely don't want to hit the curbs on a wet day.
Some good advice. Always stay away from the curbs on a wet day, and that was probably the closest I came to a proper accident. And so, on to passenger conduct. You do not want to be leaning across, moving your hand in front of the driver, and also you don't want to be pointing stuff out that isn't on the track. As you see, I lost concentration, almost lost the car. So passengers, try and keep your hands to yourself and thoughts until the end, because I am in full concentration mode. And so, as you get onto the day, it is important to know where to go. On Anglesey, you go to the far side of the pits where they're all coming out, as you see the Civics from earlier, and then you drive all the way along the pit until you get to the exit gate onto the pit entry. Make sure to make note, it is important to do the sighting laps at the start of the day, so try and get there at 8:30 as they normally start at 9, and that will normally give you a good chance to know the conduct, know where to go, as well as the sighting laps themselves is a very important one if you've never been there, to sight your own laps. The main guy who is organising the day goes out nice and slowly and shows you the racing line, no overtaking, nice and slow, and it just means that you can get a better feel for the day. So if it's your first time at a track, definitely get yourself on the sighting laps no matter what track you're on. Now for a couple of clips that I'm slightly proud of. This is oversteer, don't overcorrect and stay on the power a fair bit, and it comes right. And then this is how to deal with understeer. If you turn too much, as I did there, turn a little bit less to turn more, and ease on the accelerator as well. It is a very difficult one to overcome understeer, and with the big heavy 3-litre engine in the front of this car, it is indicative of it. And there you can see me throwing the weight around.
And so, on to what to buy and what to bring with you on your track day. The most important one for me was the helmet. I do recommend renting a helmet for the first 1 or 2 times that you go on track days, just to make sure that you like the day before you make this major investment. And so when it comes to getting your first helmet, I do really recommend that you go into a shop, whether it's a motorbike shop or a race shop or whatever it is, and try a bunch on. See how they fit on your head, see what size that you actually are, try the different sizes and see what is out there. I ended up with this. This is the Scorpion carbon fiber. And it is so light. It is 1,500 grams of lightness, and it is certified safety and everything like that. And there are good points and bad points to using a motorcycle helmet. The main good points is the technology. You've got vents in the top, you've got vents in the bottom, and you've got other little bits of technology as well, like this right here. Pretty cool. I've not used it yet, but it's pretty cool. Makes me feel like a fighter pilot. With a convertible, I thought I might need it, but I haven't really used it. But the main thing on it is this right here. This is a little inflator to 2 airbags either side of your face. Not airbags like crash airbags, but just bags of air, and they, as you pump them up, it tightens up on your face, and that really stops the helmet from moving around as you're going over bumps, as you're doing turns, and
it can really be off-putting, and it's also a little bit of a safety thing as well, just to have it tight onto your face. And so that is a good thing to look for, that little bit right there. Now, of course, the bad bits is the back end. It's got an aerodynamic back end. So, of course, that is really good if you're on a motorbike and there's nothing behind you and you want that slipstream, or if you're doing go-karting, motorcycle helmets work just fine. But for a track day in a car, it's not the best, to be honest with you. So don't make the same mistake I did and get a flat back or a rounded back helmet, because obviously the headrest is often bumping against that one, and it is quite off-putting when you're there just trying to focus on the track. Heck, for the wife, I even take her headrest out just so she can sit a bit more comfortable in there when we're going around the track. So on to the other things that you should bring.
And so I've put the full list on the left, but I'll go through the important ones now. So the tyre inflator, the torque wrench, are something that I've used on every single track day. I actually almost had a wheel fall off if it wasn't for that torque wrench. The towing eye is an absolute must, as is the oil if you're going in a BMW. I've got my GoPro stuff there. I've got spare brake pads, because that is a big one that can put an end to your day. Obviously helmets, but the camping chairs, that's another big must. To give yourself somewhere comfortable to sit down, and I like them shoes. They're just a bit better for racing than the 90s skate shoes that I normally wear.
Whoa, he's still there. Goodness, you must love that video. Let me know by liking and subscribing, or liking and subscribing, whichever way it is. And it really helps the channel grow. Obviously, I'm a small channel at the moment, so I really appreciate every subscriber. Every single one comes in. I look at it in the morning, I'm like, another one. And I am enjoying making these videos at the moment. I hope you enjoy watching them. Let me know in the comments as well if you go on track days and I've missed anything. Do you take anything on a track day that I've missed in this video and that really improves your day? And also, I'd like to know if you enjoyed this presenting style with the camera, my face, my fatness. And let me know if there's anything that you would like to see in the future to improve the videos. That would be a lot of fun. I don't mind trying my best to appease the audience. And of course, like and subscribe. I hope you have a fantastic day, and catch you on the next one. It's not even on.